Good evening. We will call the Board of Directors for Clover Garden School meeting to open at 6:33 p.m. on March 12th, 2024. Ms. Verakin, role and mission of the board.
Role of the board, we are entrusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission of Clover Garden School foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review tonight's agenda? Are there any additions or changes? I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Ms. Russell, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? For the February 20th, 2024 minutes, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any changes? Do I have a motion to approve the February 20th, 2024 minutes? Mr. Huffine, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? Thank you. Ms. Reagan, do we have public comment?
No, ma'am.
That moves us to finances. Has everyone had a chance to review the February 2024 budget? Ms. Simmons, are there any comments or concerns?
No, ma'am, not.
Ms. Lane, have you had a chance to review the budget?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the budget for February 2024? Ms. Lane, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? Thank you. Academics, principal updates. Who's going first tonight, Dr. Morris or Ms. Benson?
Flip a coin.
So we do want to begin with some spotlight of our staff. We have had some great things going on just over the past month, and so I am not even going to speak a lot. I'm just going to say that we have some representatives from our third grade team. And so they're going to come up and share some of the things that have been going on in the third grade, and then following that,
we will have our high school representing tonight with our exceptional children's department.
Okay.
Hey, good evening. So in third grade, we've had a busy month and then we're only on the 11th day. The kids have been making s'mores. We did a reading camp out and we've been working on multiplication scoop party for quite some time, but that will come to an end this month. So first up, we have solar oven s'mores. So in Ms. Ellis's class, the kids were learning about solar energy. And so they each made their own individual solar oven and they were able to take that home and then make solar oven s'mores out of them and record their experiment findings. So that was fun for them. They enjoyed that. And then I'll let Ms. Savage talk about the multiplication. Well, you've all been in third grade.
Long time ago.
You learned to multiply, and that's what we still do in third grade.
So kind of a way to work on our practice and our fluency for multiplication. We started in November, and every week we focus on one fact, and on Friday we'll have a test. We'll do practice tests throughout the week, and on Friday, if you make 100, then you move on to the next fact. So you keep moving up. So this is our bulletin board for our 72 students that have been multiplied. It does go a little before that. So we are getting ready to celebrate because every time you made 100, you earned an ice cream scoop. So we're getting ready to celebrate that at the end of the month, and we'll have an ice cream party, and for every scoop, you get to choose a topping. So it's gonna get a little questionable for some of us. It's gonna be a lot, but we thought we probably don't want to have 10 scoops of ice cream. So we're you know how many scoops they have, and they get to choose their toppings. And we're doing that at the end of the month just to celebrate. But I do want to point out a day. Yeah, at the end. We did have 6 students make 100 all the way through. Never scored under 100. And then we had 7 who just missed 1 week. So we were real successful with it. And I feel like they're doing really well with their facts this year.
And they only had 1 minute.
Yes, 1 minute, 20 questions.
Wow.
And then on Monday, we celebrated Read Across America with Dr. Seuss. in my classroom, and I do this every year. I've been doing it for 18 years. I can't stop now, even though every year I'm like, but I can't. So they love it. I love it. It's my favorite day of the year. So the kids, we put up tents in the classroom and they get to wear their pajamas to school and they can bring a blanket and a stuffy and books. And we just spend the day enjoying reading. So these are some pictures from Monday, and then I always dress up too. I enjoy that. But this is, and then we had s'mores as well, so, but you can't give them out. They each had a s'more treat. So that is it for us.
Thank you.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Dr. Morris, I don't know if you wanted to do any type of introduction, or I'll just go ahead and kind of
I'm
segue.
gonna let you
into it.
go right on.
So we do have some representatives from our EC department here this evening. So I'm Kirsten Garrison, our EC coordinator for Clover Garden. And this is really a shout out of our programming across both of our schools. So we do have some staff with us. I want to recognize too. Melanie Newton is here, one of our middle school EC teachers is with me this evening. Nikki Montgomery, one of our elementary EC teachers. And we also have Ms. Tamara Carter, one of our exceptional children's teacher assistants here as well. In your board member folders for this month, you will have a slides presentation to introduce you to all of our staff. So we do have an amazing exceptional children's staff to support all students here at Clover Garden. So please refer to that and get to know us a little bit and those who are not here tonight. So I do want to start off with some special recognition. So we have had some really cool opportunities the past 2 calendar years. We've had this program called EC Evenings, where we network with community members, our school community can come, parents of students with disabilities, our students and staff as well. Last year they were quarterly events, and then we had 3 this year. We've had 2 so far. The next one is in April. But the purpose of these are really to support our community around those with disabilities and building agency, knowledge acquisition, getting information out there to our parents, to our caregivers, to best support our students at school and at home. So our last one that we had in January, we had a special opportunity for 4 students. And they came to showcase some of our amazing work and programs that we have. So I want to start off with recognizing Hayden Foster for being one of our showcase representatives. The next one that I'd like to recognize is Ethan Ward. Our next student is Maxton Witt. Then one more student to recognize is David Wren. Well, these 4 students I want to shout out and recognize. They helped support our EC evening programming, and they were able to showcase 2 of our different EC sponsored clubs and school-based enterprises.
So Hayden and David helped to support, and show those who attended about our Grizzlies Brew Crew. And Ethan and Max helped to showcase our Lego Club. And we'll kind of show some of those pictures of them in action as well. But they brought it to life and showed the real life thing what it was, and made it a cool learning opportunity for the event. I will open it real quick. If any of you all would like to share anything about that experience or the club or enterprise that you were there to showcase, you're welcome to. Anyone want to say anything? We appreciate you so much and thank you. So our ECUNY programming, like I mentioned, is a time and space card for networking, for really creating a community around student participation. So this is from our January event, our Grizzly Brew Crew station and our Lego Club, presenting about those. I'm going to talk about those specifically. We have those in action on a regular basis, so our teachers and students get to hear about this. We want to make sure that the board knows about these awesome opportunities that we have here at Clover Garden.
So our Grizzly Brew Crew, sends out an order form weekly to our teachers here on the K campus, asking for orders for coffee or hot chocolate right now. They'll change over to lemonade or strawberry lemonade after spring break. And they place the orders and they fix them and serve them on Fridays. And you can see the picture that they're serving them with their apron. And we're also practicing social skills and conversation skills in the meantime. And then the Lego Club meets every first and third Thursday of every month. And we meet in the after school and we working on those interpersonal relationship skills, social skills, and building architecture. A lot of them are architecture sets, and they have to, each person has a job. They can't just build a Lego set. Each person has a job with the state too. So those are some pictures.
So these enterprises, as well as some other ones we have, Clover Cafe is on our high school campus. It has recently opened. It's every morning before school in the commons area, common seating, and we're serving breakfast type items, a few snacks like, bubble gum, things that high school students want. But it's sponsored by our OCS students to build all types of vocational employability skills, much to the framework that Ms. Newton has begun here with our middle school students, working on those employability skills, learning how to follow instructions, how to work under pressure, and then kind of the business side of things too, inventory and money skills, etc. So this school-based enterprise helps to build that for a specific group of our students with disabilities that are on the trajectory for a vocational career to enter the workforce upon graduating high school. So this is just some advertisements. Our students developed all of these catchphrases, slogans to bring in, buy-in from their peers. And our students have named all of our businesses as well. So they have participated in that process. Our high school students have also begun a partnership with our school's dream team to volunteer at Special Olympics. So they did go once in February for an event, and they'll be going back for the spring games in April. And this is an opportunity for them to build their leadership skills as well, to go and support different age groups of the athletes during those events. We have some athletes themselves, and they get really big into the coaching and the cheering, and making sure that those students feel celebrated as they're participating. But they have lots of different roles that they're given. But this new partnership with Dream Team has been an asset for students for that peer collaboration as well. And then lastly, we want to shout out our snack pack. This is with our ECS classroom. Miss Lackey sponsors this, and she's unable to be here with us tonight. But this is also a benefit of being a teacher at Clover Garden. You get the snack pack that gets to come around and visit you weekly The logos have been made for door hangers that teachers can display, so we're not interrupting instruction. If the hanger is there, then our students and our group that's going around knows that it's okay to enter and to complete that transaction with them. But even starting with elementary age students, we're building communication skills. We're building those soft skills that will be transferable across all settings in that child's life and journey. Building money skills, basic math as well. So we're starting those even with our elementary students through our school-based enterprises. And then lastly, again, I just wanted to direct you to, in your board member folders, that you do have a presentation to learn more about our staff because it is growing, so that we can adequately meet the needs of our students. Thank you.
While they are, finishing up, we're gonna have to pass it up on just her report for athletics.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give a quick update with athletics. We are full-fledged into spring season, and we actually filled 10 of 10 middle school and high school spring sport teams. So we are in full blast. Two big things that I really want to focus on today is we just submitted our Scholar Athlete Awards for varsity sports. And I just wanted to give you some awesome totals that we're able to really talk about how awesome our students, our athletes are. So, we actually, out of 54 varsity athletes, 33 of those are gonna be considered a, scholar athlete, and that's with a grade point average of 3.5 or higher weighted. So that's like 61% of our varsity athletes are 3.5 or higher. 17 of those 33 athletes are actually a 4.0 or higher as well. With that, we had 7 teams that competed in the fall and winter seasons. And of those, 6 of 7 of those had a team average of 3.0 or higher. And even more to talk about, 5 of those 7 had a 3.5 unweighted team GPA or higher. So it's something really awesome to talk about and display about our student athletes. And the other thing that I would like to tell you about that we're always trying to bridge the gap in the community with our K campus and our high school campus. So our varsity baseball program is actually going to be sponsoring a Field of Dreams night on March 25th at the Burlington Stadium. People got to sign up in grades K through 5, and they actually get to walk out with a varsity baseball player onto the field for the national anthem and a player introduction and an introduction of them as well. So we're always looking to bridge our gap with that, and we're really excited. There were 20 slots available, and we've already filled 16 of those, and it's only been live for a couple of days. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. Those are the main things for athletics, and like I said, we're full force with 10 teams running right now in the spring. But thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, we'll keep going, we'll keep on going. All right, so, at this time, so, we try to speak into different categories as we honor and recognize our, pillars of the book on academic success. So by way of honor, and thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of honor and recognition, on the K side of the world. We are excited and celebrating, our K2 classrooms. They asked, and so they received iPads, 6 iPads, per classroom. They were super excited. So I am, thankful and grateful for them for speaking up and advocating for themselves for instructional purposes, but also it is the team that we have and our, financial department over there, that listens and hears us out in class to meet our needs as best we can. So they were excited. A lot of them know they would be there, notes from their grade level meetings. I wanted to say that, so you all can hear that. Yeah.
And Contegra is finally with us full time. We are so excited. So that is our behavioral health therapist, and she is being utilized
Daily.
daily, every minute, every day. And we are definitely seeing a difference. So we can definitely testify to that, especially today. So I had a student today come in. This is definitely a testimony. We have not seen this student in quite a while, but we've not even had communication from this student with behavior. Student came in today and I was like, what is wrong? He was able to verbalize what was wrong, and I said, do you need to go see Miss Knight? He was like, yes, ma'am. I got up, went right over, got her, he went right to her. This is typically a student that we have had behaviors with before. He was able to verbalize, because that's something they have been working on, and she was like, that is such a great skill, we've been working on that, and it was able to pass it right off and take it. So that is definitely a benefit that we received from that program immediately, so. Yes, we are so glad.
We absolutely are. And then we have a piece of it, the mystery equipment. So, a few months ago, you all may recall, we had SHAC funds that we were, awarded. And so we had an order for a piece of equipment. It's called a unity spinner. And I actually need to upload a picture, but it is back there. It's had caution to this one because it was delivered just before the winter break. And a few teachers, hey, what is that? What is that? Is it? And so now that the weather is breaking, and so we're gonna release the equipment, but it is out there, and the teachers are excited because it's one more thing to get the kids involved in. So I wanted to, make it official that it is there and ready for use.
So at the high school, one of our parents, who also participates with PTP, Ms. Massey, she's a ninth grader's parent. She provided special treats for our high school teachers, around, any special occasion. But this coming Thursday, she is purchasing a coffee for each teacher from Harper Bell's coffee truck. And so they'll be able to go and get a free drink as a teacher at the high school, just to show our appreciation for all that our staff do. The other thing is, the staff at Clover Garden are absolutely amazing. There have been so many times over the past few months that we just had a hole that needed to be filled, and they are jumping in and they expect nothing in return. And it's just amazing to see the amount of teamwork that we have going on. And they're, continuing to step in wherever they are needed.
Absolutely. Ditto to that. Ditto to that. So I'm gonna, we're gonna hop down into some action.
So I gave you all a packet. I spoke to several of you this afternoon already about digging into the data that we have. On the front of your packet, I'm not gonna go a whole lot in depth. So I think the committee can talk a little bit more about it, but the front page that you have is some data based on our check-in that we had for reading and math at the top. Science is in the middle, and this is all for grades K through 8, or 3 through 8 actually. And then the very bottom is our high school. The one thing you'll notice about the high school to the far right down at the bottom, the scores are only representative of 3 students at the very bottom. The one thing that we are looking at was a highlight that I showed or spoke to the academic committee with our 3rd through 6th grade right now. Their pacing guide is off quite a bit. Their pacing guide was not in line with the check-ins. So some of their standards were being taught after what the check-ins lined up to be. So that is something that we are working towards now into looking at, and how can we make that line up for the next check-in. So that's one piece. The other piece is going to be on how they did not have a teacher. We had subs in the classroom. So that's a major factor, because they started out with a teacher, then they went with subs. Now they do have a teacher. One piece that I have shown with them, and you can see with the data in the back, you can't see the progress monitoring that they've done. With their new teachers that they do have in there, they've done something called a growth check. And so the growth check has shown tremendous growth from the students from the time they did not have a teacher until now where they do have a teacher. So we're looking at about a 55% proficiency overall, which is a drop from last year. However, there are many factors in that overall drop because of the clientele that we brought in, different types of students that we are used to having here. They're having to get used to us, to our teachers. Our teachers are having to get used to the teaching style, the curriculum style that they're having to get used to as well. The different programs that we bring them. The teachers are having to get used to the autonomy of teaching versus the core. The MTSS program is a little bit different, bringing in, or the framework of MTSS, shall I say. We got all kinds of things going on. So there is a whole lot of different factors playing in. When we talk about the 55 percentile, that is just a guesstimate based off of our prior two checkpoints right now. So we have more, plus we do not have the 8A, nor do we have some more of the 9th through 12th check-in to go on, and their iReady scores, because they opted out the first couple of times as well. So that is just a piece of data to share. There is more in-depth data within the folder that you can take a look at. And then the academic committee can show and tell you a little bit more. And if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer those too.
On the high school side of things, we are in more of our check-ins. Biology has completed their second round last week. We'll be heading into the third round here near the end of the month. Our middle school started their third and final round of check-ins this week, and 3-5 final rounds of check-ins are next week. And then that leads us to the curriculum instruction professional development. So thankfully, we completed the ACT on February the 27th. At that point, we had 39 of our 41 students take that assessment. All the things were sent back the next day, and we are just awaiting scores. Today was actually the makeup session for our ACT, and we only had 2 students left to make up, and we did have 1 attend today. So we are well at our 95% participation rate for that test and are in good standing, even if our last one doesn't get to participate. The next round of makeups is April the 9th, which is a Tuesday after our spring break. So we're hopeful that last one can get in, but if not, we are in good standing. And our WIDA access testing for multilingual learners, that was a window of opportunity for us to assess where our students were with their speaking in their language. And that was completed on the 4th of March. So right now, when it comes to the state mandated test, we are current and we are complete until we get to the EOGs, EOCs, and AP exams.
And on this side, so of course, in this field, we're constantly developing as professionals. And so we are in this approaching Q4, just a few days. So our teachers will be participating in professional development around this is a choice for them. And so something that supports their discipline or maybe an interest in trying to fine tune their skill set. And so they'll be working throughout that on an independent level. In NECs, they can choose, and or it can be something outside of the NECs platform. But this quarter is focusing on self and sharpening your tool as a teacher in the classroom. And coupled with that, and if you want to hop in at any time, also when we're looking at curriculum instruction, we are, as our teachers are developing, when we consider the information or the data that Ms. Whitfield just shared with you all, we're looking at some grade level configurations. As the teachers are developing, they're looking more closely at how to group students and understand the data, which is what we're doing. And so I just wanted to mention that because again, we are trying to be very intentional. In this Q4, I was, Ms. Whitfield and I have been talking about, finishing strong. And so that's the goal there. More.
So yeah, so when we're talking about the data, we're really digging into the data and teaching the teachers how to dig into their data. So we're going back in and doing some reconfiguring of some of our teaching strategies. So some of our teachers are doing some supplemental, teaching within. And we talked a little bit with the academic committee, today. So digging into some of the reading strategies within the social studies and science content. Coming into the math content and doing some supplemental teaching and integrating the social studies and science within the reading content area. And so instead of just teaching social studies and science as a curriculum piece for this teacher is pulling math now as a supplemental piece along with the math teacher. So you have two different areas being taught in two different time frames during the day. And then this teacher is just teaching science, social studies, and reading all encompassed in one, because math is our big focus this year. And then we will look at our data again, and then if we need to shift for next year's focus, then we will pick up to where our data lies there. So that's how we're really teaching them to dig into their data, because our data points right now are at 80% proficient for each class. And we're not at that for each classroom. So that's where we're looking at. And so that brings us to our MTSS, which MTSS is tomorrow, collaborative with the high school. So we all have a criteria other than the 80 percentile that the teachers can bring a student. And then when I say bring the student, the data team meets first. If they do not qualify under that 80% criteria, because right now only one classroom qualifies under that 80% criteria. So if they do not qualify, then a teacher has a certain criteria that they have to meet 3 more data points in order to bring that student to the committee. And then that was a collective committee agenda that we came up with. Now they will bring that student, and then the committee will look at that student and say, yes, they qualify to be on a tier program, or no, they do not qualify to be on a tier to get extra intensive support within the classroom or other intensive support outside of the classroom on top of the classroom support that they're already receiving. So there's 3 tiers right now. There could be infinite number of tiers we do, but right now we've chosen 3 with the amount of support that we have with the resources that we have here to be able to offer. So that's awesome. So
So the next point of interest are athletics, and as Ms. Pascal shared with us earlier, things are going great in the athletic world. We have some things to celebrate because our middle school girls made it to the conference championship, and we're so close to that win. They worked so hard. And then our high school Lady Grizzlies in basketball defeated their rival Chatham for that conference championship. So those were 2 very exciting events for our athletes. In regards to health and safety, I met with all the high school students this week that were in attendance on Tuesday to review the expectations and some of the frequently reported violations of the honor code, or the student code of conduct, which was being in their assigned areas, the dress code, being respectful, refraining from that use of obscene or abusive language, and some general parking lot reminders. We are loving our new high school space, but we want to make sure that's safe for everybody. And so we felt like it was necessary to go ahead and have those expectation reviews, especially as we head into spring and things start getting warmer. Sometimes so do the behaviors. So as a K-12, we all did our tornado drill as a statewide required drill last Wednesday as part of the National Severe Weather Week, and it was successfully conducted at both campuses. And so we're very proud of our students.
And so we're gonna have down, we did, I just wanna say this too for the safety drill, something I thought that was good, and I'm saying this because I see Ms. Cox over here, as we were looking at our plan, because again, with us having students more students and then even teachers being in different places and spaces. So being challenged to look at, other ways to maintain safety and order. And so we had a little debrief, about some of the, some tweaks that we may need to make moving forward, but I did want to mention that, but it was, again, a good opportunity to explore some of those other, areas. So thank you. And then the final, area here is student life. So as you all saw with third grade, we've had a lot of activities going on for Read Across America. That was through the elementary world, lots of fun there. We as an admin team, have coined this as March Madness. It's March Madness, but in this world, because it feels like, the kids are going mad, we're mad. But we also want to have mad success on a slang term. And so again, it's a rough time of the year, you're tired, kids are tired. So we're emphasizing math simply because we want to maintain motivation and academic focus as well as determination to finish strong. That's really where we are. It's been interesting all the way around. And so this effort and thoughts are both with students and teachers in mind. So we've been having some fun on both sides. We had a guest speaker yesterday to come speak to the 8th graders, and it was a great way to collaborate with our accelerated eighth graders to come on over and experience. And so that was fun. But he also, the guest speaker, again reiterating motivation, the importance of school, also yourself, self-esteem. And using school pretty much as a vehicle, for success in your future. And that's how I'm going to sum it up in that way. And so then on the teacher side, we've been having a little fun, as well.
So we have a blue hair challenge going on. If you walk in our very front door, you'll see a big, bulletin board with the teachers, including us. We all have blue hair. So that is a challenge to the students for behavior here. If they do not have a behavior referral for the day, then they earn a letter. And when we fill out blue hair, everyone that is in will have blue hair for a certain amount of time. We haven't told them how long, but we will have blue hair. It may be whoever decides to dye their hair or whoever has a wig for the day, whatever day, week, however long it's gonna be, we will sport it around outside parking lot, inside, wherever we choose to go. So the kids have total buy-in and they look every day to see if they've earned a letter. Who's got it? Who did write for us today? Who got it? So they are totally in on which teachers are gonna buy into it. So, yeah, they are well aware.
Yeah, and there's some photos as well in the drive.
So recently, I've been approached by some students about, well, what can we do to be recognized for good behavior? And so they're giving me some great ideas that I'm gonna take to the school staff meeting tomorrow to discuss of what we can do to honor those who have good behavior and low tardies. And so the kids have really started like emailing, coming to the office to give ideas and thoughts. And so it was really refreshing to see that, especially when they came back from the break. And so I'm excited about that component to see what they come up with. And then on a happy note, and it was included last minute, but our Envirothon competition was today. And it included our 8A and 12th graders. There was about 30 students and we came away with several trophies. So our high school received first, second, and third place. And our middle school team got first, third, and fourth. So all of those students are moving on to the state competition, which is going to be April the 26th at Cedar Rock Park. So that is definitely something to celebrate for all of our students in our school. As mentioned by our EC staff earlier today, Clover Cafe is up and running in the mornings, and they are earning those hours for their graduation requirements. And it's super exciting because, as our seniors are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, many of them are starting to share that they are starting to commit to the college of their choice. And so we are hoping that after spring break, I'm gonna be able to have a display of where they commit of all the places that they'll go. And so it's something to look forward to, and it's an exciting time of year for them. So that is some of the stuff going on in our student life.
We just have a couple of things at the bottom that you, just the ALA field trip. We have a theater performance coming up, as well on the 27th. And then our early release day, our PE teachers want to get together and have a pickleball tournament. So that is a huge thing for us. And then spring break is got it for us. So that is all on our world. The K-8. So I think.
And that pretty much covers it for the high school as well, so.
That's it. Very good. Wonderful updates. Thank you very much. Okay, Mrs. Barakin, Senate Bill 49.
So we met with the governance committee, today, and so now, the Senate Bill 49 requirements that we have to do as a school, as well as, posting on our website and, putting that into our handbook, those type of things. That's the next steps for us. So the governance committee today was good with the updates and the policies that we had created, for Senate Bill 49. And right now they are awaiting the lawyer to give her good graces on it. And then we'll be able to move forward, with having a policy in place. So, it was a very good conversation. I did put a copy of it in the folder for you. You can look at that as well. And again, that way you can kind of see the requirements, some of the things that they focused on, with policy wise. And I'll just kind of summarize them for you real quick, but, parental inspection policies, for example, if they have questions, parents have questions about curriculum or textbooks, things like that, what does that process look like for Clover Garden? Some information about parental involvement, information about notifications regarding student health, in regards to having consent before any type of health or medical treatment is given. So there's some good information in there about that. How to, with parent concerns, if parents have concerns about different things, what is the process for that? I know we have our grievance policy, but in regards specifically to Senate Bill 49, how do they go about that? And then student surveys. So there's some important information in there in regards to getting that prior consent, making sure that the surveys are going out to families ahead of time before we are collecting any kind of protected information from students. So governance is perusing that. They feel good about it. We are just waiting for legal to put their stamp of approval on.
So we're not going to vote, correct? On
No,
anything
if we can
tonight.
table that till the April meeting,
Okay.
that will give her time to okay it.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Any questions on that? Okay, committee updates. Governance? I don't know, since Amy's not here, can someone?
Sure. We, met on 220 and 224, and 312 today. To Ms. Reagan's point, we also, we slid in the Senate Bill 49 today. That'll go on till, the next month. And then the other thing that we have in there, which is later on down the agenda, is the new requirements from for COVID that the CDC has put out, and our nurse has reviewed it, and now the governance committee has reviewed it. But that, like I said, that's on down the agenda, but we did review that today. And then the governance committee is tasked with working on our physical policies and our internal controls from now to the end of the year to go through that.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons.
You're welcome.
Finance, Ms. Lane?
Yep, the finance committee met yesterday, and primarily we discussed our deposit strategy. And so we've got a little bit of follow-up work to do. And then we also got some updates on the new school and the finances there.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. Academic, Ms. Foster.
As you've heard already from Ms. Whitfield and Dr. Morris, there's been a lot of checking in done. They have done in-class check-ins, they have done iReady check-ins, they have had the middle of the year check-ins. And, pleased that we're seeing growth in some areas, but there are also some areas where we have some deficits, some places that we need to work. Again, pleased to hear that we're developing some strategies that are going to fill in those gaps. Again, I really liked the cross-curriculum things where we're using some of our other teachers to try to fill in those gaps in reading and math. I think that's a great way to start. And I think that, we're moving in the right direction. I was here today and walked down the halls, and I told them in the meeting, I said, in every classroom I walked by, I heard the most amazing teaching going on. It was just, you could hear those teachers and there was just like excitement in their voices. And I said, it did this old school teacher's heart good to see that. And again, I think we're moving in the right direction, and we appreciate all that you all do to get all this data together to help our teachers to understand. And as Ms. Whitfield said, it's been a challenging year because for the first time, as I said, the elementary teachers have students that didn't start kindergarten here. And so that makes things different because the expectations are different depending on where they were in school. So the teachers have faced a lot of challenges, and I think we need to give them a lot of grace because they are working hard and they're doing the best that they can do. And so we appreciate them.
Thank you. Long-range planning,
No update tonight.
thank you. Fundraiser.
Yes, we met last week. We kind of got some ideas going. And the things we're looking for is we're looking to add a couple of members. So we're hoping to add a staff member or two to kind of get their input on what they're wanting. We're also looking for some parent members that want to come, and maybe some community members that want to come help out. We have PTT that's working on fundraising to do teacher appreciation, but the fundraising committee is we're really looking to help out the school in bigger terms. So we're kind of getting some ideas going on what we want our goals to be. And we all walked away with some tasks that we're going to be doing. But until we meet again, if anybody knows of any person that wants to join, and that would be, community members, staff members, or parent members, Ms. Bray can put it in the Sunday email, and that I haven't gotten any emails or any responses from that yet. So if you know of anybody and want to push that out, we would love to have other people, other ideas, and really kind of bring the whole community together to see what they're wanting and to help work together.
Thanks, Ms. Russell. Go to new business now. Ms. Barakin, faculty and staff mid-year survey.
I'm gonna table that just for this meeting. We will bring that back in April. We recently surveyed our teachers K-12. And I've been able to dive through that data with Ms. Spencer. And we went through the K-8 campus, and went through some highs and lows and some areas that we're doing well in, and then some areas that we need to see some improvement. So we've gone through that data and did our top 3 areas for improvement and strengths. But I need to do the same thing with Dr. Morris. So I will be debriefing with her on the survey results school-wide, and then of course as the high school in particular. There were just preliminary looks. Surveys were great. It always gives us really, really good feedback. And there are some similarities between the campuses as in areas for room for improvement, as in, additional ways that we're doing things that are well, they're doing good. So I would say just if I could table that just till next month, and then I'm gonna present the summary, and then I'm gonna have the ladies present the strengths and weaknesses. So.
Great, thank you. And then the COVID isolation period update.
So, we thought we wouldn't need to say the C word anymore. So they have made some changes. CDC made some changes last week. You probably saw that on the news. But they've made some changes in regards to not making COVID as specific.
There's so many respiratory illnesses out there now, that they've decided just to make those changes overall and make it like a respiratory policy, not a COVID-19 policy anymore, but just respiratory in general. Can I see you come? So very short and sweet. So just up to like now, like recently, kids getting COVID, we're having to mask up and things like that. So with the CDC's changes with respiratory illnesses, this is just an update to our protocol for what we had before. So they are lumping together, you know, COVID-19, flu, RSV, kind of all as respiratory illnesses in general. Still wanting to make sure that we keep the steps the same, as in, you know, please notify the nurse, you know, let her know if your kids are sick, because that does kind of help us cut down on, you know, the spread of the illnesses. So definitely letting her know what's going on. Continuing to stay home is kind of the simple things, back to the basics kind of thing. If you've got a fever, please don't come to school, you know, 24-hour fever-free rule. Keeps everybody kind of safe and well. So she also put some additional symptoms in there as well. And then returning to school, of course, if it's been 24 hours, if both are true, your symptoms are getting better overall, and you have not had a fever, vomiting, or diarrhea for 24 hours. So that thing is just, you know, to be honest with us, yes, we want you in school. Yes, we want attendance to be great. However, please do not jeopardize your health and the safety of others by coming to school if you have those symptoms. And then she moved to a recommendation. So no more requirements for masks. That went away a long time ago. However, our policy was still a little bit more stringent, as in, you know, with COVID, you know, it was 5 and 5. And so the last 5 days of your, you know, this quarantine period, so to speak, we were asking people to wear masks. And so now she has completely changed that. As the nurse, she does not want to get rid of it altogether, so I told her it could be a recommendation, but it will no longer be a requirement, because as you guys know, the masks do work, you know, in certain aspects to kind of keep those germs in. So it is now just a recommendation for masking, but no longer any requirements per our policy. And then of course, there's the CDC respiratory virus recommendations attached to the bottom. So this is just the updated respiratory illness protocol and procedures. Yeah, I'm sorry. And we did discuss this with the governance committee. Okay, good.
Has everyone had a chance to review this? Do I have a motion to approve the respiratory illness procedure? Mr. Huffine, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? Thank you. The next item is board member elections. We have 2 parent positions, Mr. Huffines and Ms. Murrell. Their term is ending in May, and then we have 1 community member position that we would like to add. So those 3 openings will be recruiting for the community member through June, and then Ms. Verakin, do you want to walk through kind of the parent positions? Kind of next steps?
So right now, the procedures that we're at right now is that we have shared in our weekly newsletter that there are 2 parent elected positions that are available and or community. So in case we get some recommendations, I have already gotten some folks sending me emails that are interested. So then we'll collect those. I think I have that running through next week. And then we'll take those and do next steps, as in, you know, the interviews, the campaign type thing, where they will share their information out with our community of other parents and students. And then we will go from there and then work on the voting process. So between now and May, that's our goal, to kind of make sure we've got the voting kind of running, and then we've got some folks in place so that we can have them join our board in June for our retreat session over the summer. So right now, it's, if you're interested, please let me know. I've got to reach out to me directly. And then I will compile all of that information and then go to the next steps, as in, okay, now we've got all these resumes, we've got all these, you know, interest letters, and then sending that out for voting for our families. So that's kind of our next steps.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Verakin. Okay, that is all that we have for new business.
Just you got summer programming on there.
There's one more thing. that's
One
on
more
there.
thing, the summer program.
Mhm.
Okay. Who's gonna take that one?
So each year, we have to determine whether or not we're gonna offer summer programming for students who are not proficient for EOCs, EOGs, or the North Carolina Extend One testing for those who, are on extended content standards. And at this point, just taking into consideration with all the transitions and, just the overall well-being of our staff and lack of desire to work anything over the summer, more so than just what they do until they can get to the summer. We are requesting, permission to not offer the summer programming, which would be like a remediation and then a retake of the EOCs, EOGs, or the NC Extend One for extended content standard students.
Who's heading up the program? I'm sorry.
It's technically your testing coordinator. And so just, just going off the feedback we've had from our teachers and staff and the lack of interest that we do have in providing some type of a summer program, even if it's only for 2 weeks. They've just said they just can't take much more. They need a really good break. And so, with that in consideration, plus, with whatever funds would be available from the state, we've decided that we would like to present to you guys to find that option for this summer, but definitely look at it as an option for next year when there's a little more stability and normalcy in our school year.
Okay. Any questions? So the vote needs to be not to participate, correct? Do I have a motion to not participate in the summer programming for the 2024 summer? So we're saying we do want to participate?
I'm a little confused.
Are we okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna speak up too, and let me ask you a question. I don't know, we're just covering our bases, just to make sure, because there's a board signature page on the bottom of this, a signature spot. We have only done this in the past, and Ms. Robin, I don't control the spot, but remember when I came to you a couple years ago for a summer program? And we had to present a plan to you, and
Yeah.
showed you what days we were doing it, what the hours were, what the criteria was, like a whole layout. We're not doing that this summer. This is an option for that. And so this is saying that we're just checking the box because right here on this paper, it says schools offering a summer program must have a written summer program plan for the school year that has been signed and approved by the local board. We don't have a plan, so we're just covering our bases to make sure that you guys know, and you've been told that they need to sign it regardless if we're doing it or not. So in the past, we've only had to sign it when we were offering a program. And so that's what they're looking at. Not to say that we don't need it. I'm not saying that, but we don't have the resources to provide that this summer. And so that is going to be something that's going to have to wait. We don't have the people to do that. So that is what I'm assuming that they're sharing with you. Now, normally, if this were a plan and we want to put it in place, it would come with the whole, what grade levels are you assessing? What subject areas are we going to do? We're not gonna participate in that program. Now, our kids in high school, so just to kind of flip on that, the kids in high school last year, they did have an opportunity for like credit recovery. They had opportunities to take like virtual online classes to kind of catch up. So some of these kids that it's talking about, this is specifically for high school, like our EOC, it's got EOG as well, but some of our EOC kids that don't do well, there are opportunities for them to get remediation that's just not CG gets provided. There will be, opportunities for them, but I don't know if this part is new this year that they make us sign off. Robin, are you familiar with from last year?
In the past, we only had to have that signed on if
If you were offering.
we're going to offer that, because it was completely optional for us as to whether we did that or not, based on resources of teachers and the finances to fund and supply and pay the teachers. Right.
So if they don't pass the EOC or EOG, then they will not get another opportunity to retest.
So the EOG part, they go through and they take the EOG, then they can take the EOG the second time. Is that correct? Only if they have the EOG camp is what we're talking about. They won't have the EOG camp. That's the piece that we're talking about, not having.
Okay.
And so that is where they will end up being what we're considered an RTA, a label, and they'll have that RTA label for the next year. And so when they have that RTA label for the next year, we're talking about possibly having a combo class is what it's considered.
Mhm.
So they'll technically be in the third grade, but they'll be sitting in a fourth grade classroom. And they have to pass that third grade EOG or proficiency level at some point throughout the year. They have until October, the end of October, to pass that proficiency level, or they're considered a third grader. Does that make sense?
It does. And so there's, and again, things have changed though since I taught. So there's not enough time after EOGs and EOCs before summer break to bring in some of those kids, do some remediation and retest.
So, yes, there is enough time. Our problem right now is we don't have any teachers
Yep.
willing to do it.
Gotcha.
So that was my job, to survey the teachers to see if we could find any.
Mhm.
I've asked 5 at least already, because they have to be certified and highly qualified in that area
Mhm.
to be able to do it. None were willing to do it.
Okay, and that was during the school day or after school? I mean,
It has to be during
the school
but
day.
it also has to be 72 hours of instruction, and it cannot include lunch and or recess before they can take that test again. So after asking the highly qualified and certified in the literacy area, because that's where the RTA camp is for that piece. None, the one that we had that was agreeable to do that camp backed out.
Mhm.
And so now we don't have any.
And it's not required. And not to say that it's not best practice, like we all know, we
Right.
turn off stuff, they, like, we know that they need
Mhm.
that. I just don't think as a school we provide that resource. This year.
Gotcha.
Right.
Not saying that, we've done RTA camps before, we've done learning camps before, we've done boot camp at the end of the school year before. But this year, I don't know that that's a good idea. Like, it's one of those where I think with more planning and more, like to Dr. Morris's point, just some stability, I think we would have more teachers on board, because when we did the summer camp that year, we had a slew of teachers that were like, yeah, I'll do it, okay, when is it, you know? We just don't have that right now.
Right, I think, and we have worked on a cohesive plan.
Mhm.
I think we just need more time to get that plan out to the teachers
Mhm.
and be like, okay, this is how it's gonna look, this is what it's gonna look like. And they've got more time with the students now that they know what's going on and be like, okay, this is what it's gonna look like. This is how many it's gonna have to. And then I think they would be more agreeable.
And I know one of the things I've learned just through the tutoring, is that in the elementary world anyway, they can be considered proficient even if they do not pass the EOG, if they have passed other standards like the M class and the iReady and so forth. If they, is it 2 other?
It's either in class or I read it
Okay.
at this point, and they have the lexile level to
Right.
go.
And RTA is ready to achieve.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can mean something different for everybody.
Oh, yeah. All we have is actually in the
Another question, and this is just out of curiosity, because I trust y'all's plan and what you're saying. My question is, for those kids that don't pass those and, you know, we're doing remediation, so you're saying it's a third grader, they don't pass. So they are going to fourth, I'm kind of interested in enrollment. What seat there do we have? Because if they're going to fourth grade, are we opening a third grade seat? Are they staying in third grade or opening a fourth? Like, what does that look like?
So she leaves that one kind of open on purpose. So right now, we pulled lottery numbers based on what we knew for sure.
Okay.
However, there's a slew of children on the retention list.
Right.
So she tries to leave a little bit of wiggle room just in case. That's why
She always tells people, just give it time because you don't know where people are gonna move and fall, because to that point, again, you have to kind of save that seat for third grade because they're taking, what if they come back, but at the same point, all intents and purposes, they are a fourth grade student, but they are doing severe remediation next year with ESS and things like that, because there might be a chance that that student, this is kind of like a combo class in a way, because there's a chance in October they do the read to achieve again, they pass it, and then they're fourth grade.
Right.
So it's kind of funky, because like I said, you're kind of in between, so she tries to leave a little bit of cushion there, and just in case, that we need to move people back and forth. So sometimes, and I say that, say like, one class might have 23 and the other class might have 25, or like it may not balance out exactly because you're moving kids around.
So it is cushion for next year for that movement.
But there's still, because right now, like, we're on the retention list school-wide, so like, there's a list right now where like teachers are meeting with parents, and then they'll come to administration like around next month, like, into next month, early May, like, we start having those really hard conversations about, okay, so the lottery's already run, right, the lottery ran in that March, so she leaves a little bit of room just in case she has to move the kids around.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you, you're welcome, that's a good question, it's kind of funky, because it is kind of like an in-between, like, who am I, what grade am I in?
Right,
Like,
and what if then they go to fourth grade and then they
Right.
don't pass, and I was just curious of what that was going to look like.
And so in the past, too, they've gone to fourth and they've done the severe remediation, and then if they don't, then they're there again, like they're that kind of, they rotate again.
And this is kind of off topic, but like if you had to do one of those in the summer, again, like the boot camps, do you have like a ballpark figure of what that would run you as far as an expense for that, to have teachers and supplies? Because that's information we need to use for the fundraising committee
Yeah.
too, and help bring in money in case we need that for the future.
We could definitely get that together, give you a ballpark, because really, the way we pay people in the past is based on their salary.
Yep.
And then breaking it down to like a daily rate or an hourly rate, or however, to pay for them and their services. And like I said, a couple of years ago, we had ESSER funds, and that's what we used for the summer learning camp. And then we had like numerous different groups going, and numerous different teachers going, and like, these teachers did 8 days, and then these teachers did 8 days, and it does make a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't, if you have the people interested in, working in the summer.
Right.
So I have seen it successful. It's just that boot camp that we did during school last year, it was great, but it was a lot. It was a lot for the teachers, because, and the kids, I got a lot of frustration shared from parents and kids, because they had just done their hardest on their EOG, and then here I'm saying, you didn't do good enough, now you're gonna be doing remediation for the last couple days of school, which is supposed to be fun, so.
Well, I would
But no,
recommend,
And to your point, Zachary, too, like, these programs, they are funded typically by the state. And so we wait and see what they're based off of your ADM, but in a percentage and those wonderful formulas from the state. But, we kind of know, they tell you what your initial allotment is on it, and then we kind of work backwards from that. So if our allotment is $10,000 for RTA, 085, we work backwards from that. Okay, we got 2 weeks, we have these amount of teachers, we figure out their stipend, for that. And then this is what we got left for resources. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some people like donate towards a building per se, but
Yeah.
some other corporate people might say, hey, you got a short of teachers, I'm glad to help with that, blah, blah, blah.
You're exactly right. But I hope does that answer
Yeah.
a little bit more than
Yeah.
yeah.
to answer your question for that?
And thank you guys for clearing that up too, that was kind of hard to figure out what's going on with that program. So.
Yeah.
Do we have an idea of possibly how many students are at risk and what?
So right now, we had about 22 that were proficient out of 75 in the third grade. Now, that was at last count. However, they do have to take their next IRED coming up, which is within the next 2 weeks. So then that does not take into account our good cause exemption kids who are 2 years or more behind for EZ. So they have a good cause exemption. Then you have your EL kids who are ESL learners. They could also get a good cause exemption, which means they're not proficient, but they get a good cause exemption. So that's where we're sitting right now. So you have quite a few.
It comes up to the very end. We go last year 17.
Right.
In January, and then we got down to I don't remember when we got into it this year, but it was.
So yeah, it fluctuates back and forth, but that's where we're sitting right now.
Okay. So any more questions? And Ms. Bracken, you still want to vote just to make sure we're on the books with,
We try to stay in their good graces.
Yeah.
They're telling her that we have to vote to decline it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We'll do that just to make sure that we don't have any issues at DPI.
but we do have a plan to make sure over the next year we get,
Yes, and like I told the academic committee today, we're also gonna have suggestions and offerings and things for like
Okay.
community stuff. Cause we have a lot of community partners that do things like tutoring and stuff over the summertime that give discounts and this, that, and the other. And to my point earlier today, I wanna see our high school kids doing some things.
right?
We have kids that are putting clubs and stuff on their, applications for college, and I'm like, but what did you do in that club? And so we've got an opportunity just this summer alone to be able to get some of our kids, hopefully, some of our leaders, some of our older children in the building and have the opportunity to work with our kids. So that's something that I'm gonna try to work with Dr. Morris and Spencer and Switfield about, is trying to at least offer some opportunities, because we do have very engaged families that want opportunities for their kids. So I
Okay.
don't know what that looks like yet. Just give it.
But this time,
Spring break.
I guess to clarify my question, this time next year, we will have a plan for summer 2025, correct?
We'll try to start recruiting them in August. I'll make a start on the line. But yes.
Yeah, we have a plan, it's just we need a time to get that plan together. There's been so many transitions right now. I think
Some of the point too, not to interrupt you, our summers are short. So
Right.
teachers sometimes are not as motivated because by the time you get out of school, it's time to come back in July. And so that's worked against us in the
Yeah,
past.
I think there's just been so many transitions also in this particular year is what.
But that's another thing that, if you get your plan together and we know that it's covered by ADM and everything, but that's where fundraising can come in and maybe we can up and incentivize and offer additional. So if we have that information going into that, then again, we can help with that plan. We can help with
Right.
fundraising and making sure that it's an incentive to want to do this.
And there is a
this
plan,
program.
and to your point earlier, there's also some other things in the works. We did not offer the portfolio this year for the students. So we talked about, Dr. Morris and I, that and with Ms. Barakin, that is not an option for next year. The portfolio is also another pathway where the students can show proficiency. So that is a pathway they are going to use next year. So that is one more way as of this point next year, we should be able to say this many kids are showing two passages from being, or two standards from being proficient at two. So we could give you more updates right now at this point next year.
And at the high school level, strengthen that intervention component that was lacking for our students this year really hurt and looking at the number of kids who would need that additional support. So going into the upcoming school year with that universal screener, we'll have a better understanding of where all students are in the high school, where it really hurt us not having that beginning of the year.
Right.
And so unfortunately, we have more students who need a higher level of support to potentially show proficiency on their EOCs, of which we're addressing through some remediation efforts at the high school right now. But we don't have a whole picture of how many students need that, so we can really hone in on that instruction that we're providing them. And so that is also something that we're, going to begin implementing from day one at the start of the upcoming school year.
So last year, I know we had summer programming last year. So how many teachers participated in last year's summer programming
We didn't have it last summer. It was the year before.
or the year before? I'm just trying to have in my mind how many teachers you would need.
I think we had 12, because I think we had 6 ELA teachers and then 6 math teachers. The way that we split it, because we kind of grouped them together in grades based on the number of students. that we have.
Just trying to get that number in my head, because I didn't know if it was 5 or 10 or 15. Yeah,
I think that we,
that's quite a bit of teachers.
Right, you had to do that based off of the ESSER funds, you had to reserve 20%.
Yeah, coming out of
And-
COVID and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so just as, I mean, I just want to put that into play, that was a big factor, and that was a mandatory, program that we had to implement, they had to implement for 2 years, we had 2 years to do it, so.
But now those 12 teachers did not teach the entire time, because
Sure.
we did have like 6 that came in and did
Right.
7 or 8 days that were for ELA, and then I think only one teacher did both the ELA and the math, but then we had a new set of teachers.
It's kinda like a tag.
Taking up their entire summer.
Kind of like a tag team.
Right, they were
thing.
given about a week and a half each time.
Gotcha.
and just wearing rosy colored glasses, I think we've seen this before. A lot of these children do not take these check-ins very seriously because they know they don't count. And you will see them put forth a greater effort when it's the real test. And hopefully maybe the teachers can come together and I mean, and it could be anything small, especially with little ones, because you'd be amazed what a 10-year-old would do for a piece of candy. But at any rate, I mean, just a little incentive. If you pass your EOG or if you make growth on your EOG, we'll do this for you, you know, and so, you know, put some of those things into play and know that those numbers are not as bleak as they sound.
Yeah. Incentivized.
Yeah.
Dr. Morris and I just had a conversation with a student, a high school student, because we were talking about an assessment they were taking. And they were like, why? I mean, I gotta try on that?
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes, because it's telling me you are reading on the level of a first grader. So
Right.
yes.
Yeah,
And
they
you're in
don't.
High school, so yes.
Right.
But, oh, okay, so I said, hey, you gonna try? Yes, ma'am, I'm gonna try. Because it is, like they think it's.
They
not
didn't think it
working, and they
counted.
Let me just flick till I get to the end, and then it shows us that like they're not on grade level, and they're like, but I am, and then so we go to put additional supports in place that are not necessary for that child.
Right.
Because it's just that testing feeling.
I really think, like I say, though, incentives are a good thing,
Yeah,
and they don't have to be costly incentives, especially with your 3-5 world. I mean, you know, like I say, they're pleased with most anything. I tutor, and when I give them a piece of candy when they leave, you would think I'd given them $20, you know?
Yeah, I heard free ice cream is what I heard.
Yeah.
With 10.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, any other questions or clarifications? And Ms. Farican, do you want me to just say summer program? Do you want me to put any RTA or any type of?
See, I thought that was ready to achieve. I'm glad they clarified that. I thought it was ready to achieve.
Summer program.
I thought it was repeat testing. That's what it means in my world.
Maybe pass that to her so she can read. The title is in the top of it, might be the best way to do it, because this is summer program for EOC, EOD, and exam one.
Okay. Now I want to make sure it's right, because I don't want that to come back either.
And NC extend.
Okay, so do I have a motion for the 24 summer of 2024, not participating in a summer program with summer EOG, EOC, or NCEXTEND1 administrations? Okay, Ms. Russell, second. Mr. Huffines, all in favor? Okay, no one opposed, okay. Oh, okay, anything else? No other new business? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to go into closed session under General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 5 at 6:52 p.m. Or sorry, 7:52 p.m. Mr. Young, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? We are now in closed session at 7:52 p.m.